it's a high responsibility transaction that you are doing. It's just not about the commission. It's about so many other aspects of the artist. You are walking somebody to into their house that they're going to live in.
Welcome, everyone, to the Closing Table Podcast, real accounts from real estate professionals brought to you by Windowsill. I'm your host, Kat Fuller, and today I am sitting down with Ripal Patel. Ripal is a broker with Compass out in Charlotte, North Carolina. And today we sit down and talk about how Ripal's unique background in engineering and mortgage lending makes her an invaluable resource to her clients. We cover her advice for home buyers and sellers and how she approaches marketing homes. And then we hit on some top myths and why you don't want to skip those inspections. So without further ado, let's chat with Ripal. Ripal, thank you so much for joining me today. I would love to start I'm going to start again. Ripal, thank you so much for joining me today. I would love to kick off our conversation with how you started your real estate journey.
Kat, thank you for having me, inviting me to join. It's my pleasure. And I'm gonna. So, real estate journey started for me in 2009, beginning of 2010. That's where I started real estate to have a flexibility between my career and have a balance between my professional commitment and my kids' schedule, my husband's professional commitments. I obtained my license very first time in California and then North and South Carolina because we moved here 10 years back in Charlotte. And I currently am on one of the top team here in Charlotte. With Compass as well, we are the number one team. We have closed sales of $191 million as of now, and we have another 70 million pending or active. So I'm really glad to be in this business and where I am right now.
That's amazing. And I'm so glad you found the flexibility in real estate that you were looking for. You have a really unique background in engineering and mortgage lending. Can we talk about how that makes you really valuable to your clients?
Yes, so I have a civil engineering background. So when I studied civil engineering, it kind of gave me an idea of the structural components of the product that I sell. I never knew when I was studying that I'm going to be ending up in real estate. So and this comes in very handy when we are doing our pre-arrival inspections or new construction meetings or even the resale homes, the inspections, or if you're listing a home. So we know what to look for. It gives me a better understanding of the reports and it's easier for me to translate to my clients. Mortgage industry has also given me the insights in the financial aspects of the home buying process. What are the loan products? What are the loan scenarios? What problems could come in? And many a times I was been able to save the transaction by asking the right questions to the right people and save my clients, losing a lot of a big amount of deposits. So that's where that's come in handy. And ultimately, this journey, my background led me to selling the real estate where I have a privilege of serving my clients and being part of their most valuable transaction that they will ever do in their life. So I'm really thankful that, all this have come together very nicely for me.
Yeah, it's kind of like a natural transition. It makes a lot of sense. You had these two backgrounds that give themselves so nicely to selling real estate and
Right.
really helping your clients get the most out of their real estate transaction.
Right. And lot of time, the feedback that I get from my client is that I'm multifaceted. I'm a knowledge broker. The skills and ability that I have or the backgrounds that I have helps me make the transaction very smooth and seamless and stressless for them. So that's a big plus for me having go through all these various careers or, paths throughout my journey.
So, when it comes to your client relationships, what is it like for clients to work with you?
So for me, for any client to work with me, I treat them as a family member, as if or a best friend, or as if I'm buying a home or selling their home because this is very important for them. I am mostly, they see me as a trustworthy, reliable resource. And I am also very confident. I strive to negotiate on their behalf to get the best deal out of them, out for them. So this is where, I bring the value in, that I'm a knowledge broker that they rely on. I never push any of my clients. I let them go through the journey as much as time they take. I ask relevant questions to find the perfect home for them. And I strive to be not a transactional broker. I prefer to be a relational broker, their lifetime real estate advisor. And the level of service that I strive to provide is that my clients are not only referring me their friends or family, but they are insisting to their friends and family that they must work with me. So I kind of hold myself to a high levels of standards that I should do this to my clients. So, and that has worked out pretty well for my business.
That's amazing. The highest compliment you can ever get in real estate, right, is that referral.
Yes, yes, that's right.
Ripple, what would your advice be for first-time home buyers in this market?
So there are few things, and the market is pretty, it's going up and down. It's still a seller's market. So there are few things that I would ask the buyers to do that first and foremost, know what you can afford. How much down payment, what is the price, how much closing cost it's going to be. The second is define your needs and wants and prioritize based on that. If it's your long term investment or a short term investment, that also plays a major role in making the decision. And that's how I work with the buyers. They also have to understand that the seller is not going to make each and every repairs that they are requesting. So be very reasonable about it. When usually I walk with my clients into the house, especially in this tight market, I point out the things that I know that could be the problems. And then, at times I send the videos and photos to my inspector to just make sure if we are buying as is home. If they are overpaying for the price to outbid others, then they have to know that if it doesn't appraise, then they will have to bring the money in. So these are all the points that they should keep in mind, and work with a trusted real estate advisor who they really know, and who is local, who knows the knowledge of the market.
And what's your advice for sellers?
So in the sellers market, I usually, the advice that we give, and that I feel is very important, that I tell my sellers that think yourself as a buyer. If you were buying this home, prepare the way you would like to move into the house to get the top dollar. We also advise our sellers to pre-inspect the property, so that there are small things that they can fix, make necessary repairs so that it doesn't come up in the transaction later on. We also advise our sellers to make some additions or changes to the house to increase the desirability of the house. And then the most important is price your home very competitively, because sitting if the home sits on market and multiple price cuts are going to hurt the property really badly. I also advise my sellers to be a little bit reasonable when the offer comes in for the repairs, that is just to work through the deal. And in this market, the buyers are paying very high amount of money to get the house. So it's important to be a little reasonable to get through the deal, and be respectful for the buyers, and finally deliver the clean, good home to the new owners. That's very important.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You got to make sure there's that cherry on top at the
Mm-hmm.
end.
Yeah.
How do you prepare your sellers kind of for the kind of negotiating part of the transaction, or even, any of your clients, buyers or sellers? Because I think that's the most unfamiliar part of a transaction for people.
So it's case by case. And in terms of sellers, if we get an offer, I have had certain situations where the offers were very very low, not in this market but sometime before. So in those markets, the seller, of course sellers have this emotional attachment with the home, and they get pretty upset that, oh, I am not even going to talk to this buyer who wants to buy my home at such a low ball offer. But then I usually try to explain them that, hey, this is where we start. this is not where we end. And I've had successfully pulled those, if there was at all just one buyer, pull them up and meet the seller and buyer in certain situation that, to close the deal. And for the repairs also, we pre-inspect the property, so we kind of fix a lot of stuff that would come up in the report. We also request our sellers to disclose the items that may affect the sale of the transaction, that it may fall out like something is not working, or some material fact that, buyer, it makes buyer think that whether I should buy this property or not. And that all becomes a part of the negotiation process. In the price, we guide them through the multiple offers. If it's a buyer side, and if it's a market where there are so many offers, and we put the offers strategically in that format, and have won the offers many times.
And then, Ripple, what is your approach to the marketing aspect of selling homes?
So for marketing, there are three main reasons that we market any home that is on a for the sale. One is to for the maximum exposure to the right kind of buyers. Then featuring the unique, showcasing the unique feature of the home, and the end result is to get the top dollar for a client. So we do this with various methods, like some traditional methods, some digital method. As a Compass broker, I also have an access to the very lucrative Compass programs that advances the seller in the market a lot. We also list it on MLS plus another 1,000 plus aggregators websites, internationally, domestically, open houses, print advertisement, mailers, email advertising, email blast. We also run social media advertisement, digital advertisement, and target the specific demographic, specific areas where we know our buyers are staying. So, and through the personal network of people or friends and family, and also through the brokerages that we work with, or the personal relationships that we have the agents with. So those are the ways we market our listing. Another way, another advantage that we have as a Compass broker is we have a program called Compass Private Exclusive Program. So what it does is that when we are listing, when we decide to, so right now we are working with the sellers who are getting ready to sell their home next year in March or April. But what we do is that we put them under private exclusive program, and we start advertising the home to 30,000 plus agents of Compass agent. It's not anywhere on MLS. It's not anywhere for anybody to see. It's only for the Compass agent on our platform and to the Compass clients. So that way we taste the list price, we taste the interest in the market for that particular house without accruing any days on the market. So that gives a very long runway to the seller, and while we are preparing the home for sale. And out of those 30,000 agents, if anybody has a buyer who wants to buy that home during that private exclusive program, and if they bring a competitive offer, then we present it to the seller. If seller wants to sell it without being on market, and close the deal. So that's an advantage of that program. Because private exclusive program, at times people have life-changing events. They don't want to sell their home and let other people know that this is. So that's one of the other reason that we use this program. We don't even put any signboard, nothing. Is just advertised on purely Compass platform to so many agents that we have and their buyers. So that
Oh,
has
wow.
been working pretty well. Yeah.
That's cool.
uh,
That seems like a huge advantage.
it's a huge advantage. And then at times we list, so I'll give an example. One of my colleagues had listed a home for 650, and the seller was willing to take that 650 if somebody wants to buy during the private exclusive. But then that particular home had a lot of interest, so from the Compass agent, so seller decided to go on the market. And when they actually launched on the market on MLS, they increased the price to 670. and somebody had bought it for 690. So it's just like within those. So that those are the advantage of those programs, and
Yeah,
we really use it. Mhm.
yeah, it's kind of like a soft launch, right? And
Yes,
like
it
you
is a
said,
soft launching in the market.
you can gauge the
That's right.
interest, and then they were able to get top dollar. That's amazing.
Yep. Yeah. So that's an advantage that we have as a campus agent.
Ripple, can you think of a particularly rewarding transaction or maybe one that was challenging that you learned something from?
Yeah. So for the rewarding one, I just closed on a transaction 3 days back. So with those particular buyers, I was working for last 2 years, on and off. They were waiting. We couldn't find, and I showed them the home in the same community. They didn't like it. The budget was 650. Over the period of time, they increased their budget. We looked at the homes, but the one or the other person wouldn't like it. Either husband or wife wouldn't like it, and then they only decided to buy in one particular neighborhood. But we looked at the home, we negotiated price by 50,000 less, but we were stuck at 10,000, and we couldn't get the deal because I think one of them didn't like it as much to really move that 10,000. And then this home comes up in the same community that I was showing them 2 years back, and I was like, this is the home, do you think you want to go see it? And they said, look, even though it's in a different neighborhood. And they were like, okay, let's go see it. We went to see the house, and the moment we stepped into the house, the wife looked at it at me, and she had tears in her eyes, and she said, you have to get in this house. So they had multiple offers on that home. I was being able to communicate and translate and articulate to the agent, the listing agent, that how committed they were to the home, how qualified my buyers were, how much they were in love with the home. We put a strategic offer. We won the bid and we closed on a transaction. And then when we closed on a transaction, again, she had tears in her eyes and she said, we couldn't have done without you. So that was worth a reward for 2 years. So that
Oh,
was really
yeah.
good. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, that's such a long time to be looking. But if
Yeah.
you are looking for that needle in a haystack, I'm so glad they had you and you all stayed so committed and intentional that you were like finally able to find the perfect home for
Yes.
them.
Yes, and I was patient with the process as well, and they appreciated that a lot because for me, I think I put my clients first before me, and that's how it has always worked for me. That if you have that client-centric approach, that hey, you and their goals in the mind, and you're trying to solve the problem for them and find the right home for them, it always works out for you as well. And that's how I get
Yeah.
my referral business most of the time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that abundance mindset, right? You're going to have some clients who take 2.5 years, and you're going to have some that
The
are
very
really
first home
super
that they walk
fast.
in.
Yeah.
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 So how well they articulate to me that when I start the journey with any client, I usually ask them a bunch of questions. Even though they like the house, they don't like the house. So, what part of the house they like, what part of the house they do not like. Within two, 3 visits, I kind of figure out that what actually they're looking for, and then I curate those homes and I only send those homes that hey. And if they come back and they was like, oh, I want to see this home. I look at the floor plan. I was like, I'm in my head that they're not gonna like the home. I tell them just go drive around. I don't think you're gonna like it. And we end. So those are the things that has taught me over the period of time, and the tactics to get the buyers or the seller to the finish line.
And then did you have a particularly challenging
Oh
transaction you wanted
yeah,
to
yeah,
share?
yeah, yeah. This was like 2 years back. I had one particular client that I was helping them buy and sell. They wanted to upgrade their home.
Mm.
So we found a home for them, and we had 3 months of time in between to close on their new home. And then they took the equity out from their existing home to get the down payment for that other home that they were buying. And the way loan was approved that they have to sell their existing home. Uh, and then close on the other home. So they were back to back transaction, and which is normal because we had enough 3 months of time. We got the home ready. We listed it on the time. It was strategically priced, and then the home went in multiple offer situation and went off the market within one day. The house that they were living in, we were listing and sold. We were going through the process, and 15th day of the transaction, when the buyer who were under contract on their home that they were selling decided to back out at no reasons, and they were like, "Oh, we just had a cold feet." It was a time of when 2022, when the rates were going up, and the
Mm.
prices were still up, so everybody was confused what's going on. So they backed out. In order to facilitate the transaction, we had to lower the price. And it was sitting on the market for a few days, because once it comes on the market, people are like, "What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?" And thankfully, one of my buyer decided to make an offer on it, and we purchased the home. And then we had this time crunch, because my seller, they were buying the next home. Those people were buying the next home too. So they needed money from all the transactions. So I had to articulate on the other side listing agent that, hey, there is a delay, which was very stressful. But I really explained her the situation, and she was like, "Okay, we'll give you at least few days, 5 days. We didn't more." So I was been able to work with my buyer who was buying my seller's home, and then the loan agent, to close the transaction in less than 20 days. And then we had like four closings on same day. My buyer closed, my seller closed on their home, my seller closed on the next home, and the people that they were buying the home, they closed on their next home. It was 9, 9:30, 10, 10:30, and this was all. I had to travel to India to see my dad, so I was on a video call from there. But we closed on a transaction. This was pretty stressful, but it was very rewarding too. They were really uh, you know, they were really thankful that we were been able to get through this work. So it's a lot of hand holding, lot of timeline management, lot of follow ups. But then I was very proud of that transaction that I did. That, wow, we achieved that. So that was challenging but very rewarding too.
Yeah, it sounds like you were spinning so many plates and probably ready for a vacation afterwards.
Yes, I was there for 20 days in India, and it almost like for a whole 1 week, I was coordinating the whole thing. My seller was panicking. "Oh my God, you're going on vacation. What's going to happen?" But we kind of worked through it. So it was all very, very challenging, but extremely rewarding too.
Right, and you just
It's
have
very satisfying.
so much expertise that you could say to your
Yes,
clients, like, "Look, I know I'm hopping on a plane, but it's still gonna work out."
yes, yes. So it was good. Made me. I still have those jitters.
But that's okay because I think sometimes, like, when you worry, it just means that you care, right?
Yeah, and I think I have gotten to the place in the transaction or in the real estate that I don't worry of stress. I just keep on working and try to find the solution. I mean, for the problem. And that's where majority stress comes in. And I don't take it as a stress, but it's just that it's a continuous time involvement. So I don't feel that any mental stress, because I know in back of my head that if I do this, I'm definitely going to find some way to resolve it, because I have a background in the loan as well. I've worked in that. So maybe do this, and let's find the solution. So I think it has all come together for me. So it's just a lot of time involvement and follow ups and all that. So physical work. But I really have zero stress most of the time dealing with any transaction. So, yeah.
Ripple, what would you say is the biggest lesson you've learned in your real estate career?
So I think in real estate, few adaptability is the key. I've been in real estate for 15 plus years. It's been changing ever since. There was foreclosure, short sale time, and then there was a big run up for last 11 years, where sellers are putting whatever price they want. I also moved from California Bay Area to Charlotte. So California, every house was like it was always a seller's market. Every house was multiple offer situation. So what I've learned is it's an ongoing change in real estate, which is constant. So you just have to learn to strategize and adjust accordingly to get the best outcome for your clients. If you also do a client centric approach, prioritizing your clients' needs and wants and goals, solve the problem for them, it also helps you build a rapport with them, and then bring success to you. Negotiation skills are also highly required. Uh, in real estate to get the best deal, or make sure you are not leaving any money on the table, either buyer or seller side. So the last is the relationships. You have to have good relationships with your clients in order for them to be able to trust you enough, and relationships with the agents and the industry that you're working in, and also the other members of the industries like the loan officers or inspectors, or roofers. So anybody that, so when you have an urgent need, they'll pick up the call and answer your questions and help you resolve the problem. So relationship is very, very important. And again, being an honest and reliable also, and work with integrity is also important for me as well, because that's my brand. I think for me, most of my clients, they feel when they talk to me, when they work with me, that they have I have their trust. That's what I feel, and it makes it easy to work with them.
Certainly, it is so important to have that trust. Ripple, are there any habits or routines that you have that help drive your success?
So for me, and I'm still working on it, but usually making a list of the items that I need to do a day before. I spend usually 5, 7 minutes a night before. I try to do it most of the days, but not all the days are perfect. Or at least plan your week, or at least 2, 3 days. That has helped me keep on the track. I also listen to many podcasts and keep up with the market, and learn as much as I can while I'm driving around. It's my mobile school, so I try to educate myself so that I have knowledge to share when my clients are needed. My clients need the knowledge. I also have lately started using the transaction coordinator to do the admin work once we go under the contract. So that has helped me big time. It doing that, those mundane work like submitting your CD, and asking for your paycheck and submit all your signature, that's very mundane work. It's really, so when I started using the transaction coordinator, I felt like, wow, big load off of my chest. And then as a team, as I mentioned, I'm also part of a top performing team here in Charlotte. So we, especially after the post NAR, we usually make sure that we meet every week, and we discuss what's going on in the market. We share our experiences, and we learn from it, because that has never happened ever in history. So we are learning as we are processing. So that has helped me through my success.
That's excellent. Yes, and it's so great that you have, a team
Yeah,
of people that you can rely on and you can learn from, and you guys
yeah,
can kind of all lift each other up.
right, right, right.
Ripple, are there any real estate myths that you would like to debunk?
Yeah. So very first one is the online valuation tools provide the
Mm,
accurate value. That's the biggest one, because usually those tools will give you the rough estimate based on the algorithm. But what we have seen is that those algorithms cannot compare the floor plan to floor plan, each and every update of the house. They may be able to compare the square feet or number of garages or all that stuff, but they do not know, or it does not have an ability to compare what kind of upgrade, what level of the flooring, what level of the cabinet, how choppy the floor plan is, what is the desirability of the neighborhood, and how the, so I think it's not that accurate. People rely on it so much. The second is that the listing your home higher than the market value, so that you have a little bit of runway. That's for the negotiation, so the buyers can negotiate down. That's one of the strategy that we use based on the requirement of the market at that time, but that's not the only strategy that we use, right? And then for buyers, most I heard, I work with ton of new construction. So when you're buying a new construction, a lot of time people feel that, hey, I can save the money by not doing the inspection for the pre-drywall, or not doing the inspections on a new construction, because it's anyway going to be inspected by the county. But I just had a pre-drywall inspection for $1.8 million home that I'm going to close in some time. It was properly inspected by a county, but when my inspector came in, we saw so many missed hurricane plates. And so these are the things that were being not noted by the in the report. So my inspector put it, and now the builder is going to fix it, because once the walls are closed in, you don't even know. So it's just, and it's really not that expensive. It's like $250. It's really worth that money. Even new construction, we find final inspection, we find things that are missing. So I highly advise. The last one is that when we are buying a resale home, I usually advise most of my clients to do the property survey and get the property survey done, so that it lets them know where the property sits, if it has a fence, whether it's on your side or if it's encroaching on somebody else's, the zoning, the easements. That's an optional item. It is a little expensive, but a lot of times the buyers are advised by lenders or their friends that, hey, just don't waste the money. But I feel that it's a very important part of the purchase that you are doing.
Oh, those are all really good advice. Especially the part about new construction. One of my first jobs was working in new construction. I worked in an office for a family home builder, and listen, things get missed. And even if you're watching HGTV, you see all the time, like, some of it maybe is for the drama of it, but mishaps happen, and you definitely want to catch those, especially before the walls go up.
Yeah, and then there are so many trades involved. It's not that the builder or the construction manager, but the task is assigned to so many other people. I mean, the trades who are probably not as highly qualified as them. They just have to put the nail in. So they may miss it. So it's important to, get those things done and know that it's not very expensive to do those.
Ripple, are there any challenges that you're facing in the current real estate market, and how are you working to overcome them?
So again, now the inventory is increasing. That means, more transactions are happening, more buyers are getting better choices. So that's a good part of it. But uh, and as most of the agents, or not most of the agents, all the agents post NAR settlement, right? The new rules that have come into place, that you have to have the signed buyer agency agreement, you have to have the stocks with your buyers before for the commission. And so what I feel that those are the good changes. And we as a team started training on this, even though we didn't know, on elevating our values that we provide. As of last year, probably January, we didn't know what we were doing. We just, we were working together on this one, and this change came in 2024 this year, in 2024 April this year. So initially it was a shock for us. I lost my sleep over the time, but then you charge it head on, and then you prepare for it. So I feel it's gonna be good for the industry, to elevate the standards, because the barrier to the entry in real estate is very, very low. Anybody can get the license, but to survive in the business and do the business in the right way, and understand that it's a high responsibility transaction that you are doing. It's just not about the commission. It's about so many other aspects of you are walking somebody into their house that they're going to live in. So I feel that it's going to be very good for the agents who are doing it right way. It's time to elevate the services, and the way we are doing is that I have started sitting down with the buyers before even I get to show them the home. I really like that, because you get to know them, you get to feel them, they get to know you. And if we are only comfortable, then we go proceed further, but then you establish this trust right there. So, and for me, I had to navigate that through trying various methods. But after, even, I'm very proud to say that after that change on August 17th, I had put many, many buyers under contract, and they were very comfortable having these conversations with me, and they were like, yeah, we don't mind paying you, but we just need somebody who is reliable and will guide us through the process. And then for the seller part, for the sellers, again, they are like, why do we have to pay this commission? And obviously it's a big chunk of money, especially on the, that they give away for the buyer's agent. But at this point, we try to educate them that you have an option. We always had an option not to offer, but at this point it has become a marketing point for you, that you pay for the marketing or you pay for the commission. You're attracting more qualified buyers rather than people just walking around into the house. So it has been challenging. It's a change that has never ever happened before, but I think we are learning as a team, as we are into it, we are experiencing. And as I said, right, every week we meet and we work with both the sides of transaction, both buyers and sellers. So we kind of come together, discuss the experiences and learning from it. So it has been good, actually. I really, really like it. That, you don't know, the buyer is committed to you. You know that the person is committed to you the way level of commitment you are giving it to them. So I really enjoy. I like this change very much, actually.
Yes, and it's so great that you know, are able to relay your value and bring all of your experience to this table and shepherd your buyers and sellers through these
Yeah.
changes. You know, they're a little outside of it. It's unfamiliar to them, but your expertise is able to make it very easy for them.
Right, and there will be always discounted brokerage. There will always be, the boutique firms that they may offer them to work with the discounted price. But then again, I think you attract the buyers that you really, level of service, who appreciate the level of service that you provide. And that's what this has, I think it's going to elevate and differentiate between the two types of agents. So
Totally.
I like it so far.
Ripple, we are coming to the end of 2024. I'm curious how your goals have been going for the year and how you are setting and looking towards 2025.
So for me, in 2024, I've started, I had professional and personal goals both, cater towards my development and, increasing the knowledge. So I'm happy so far with how it's coming along. I still have more work to do, but then I'm happy where I am, and especially in enhancing the skills that I need for my business and also the amount of knowledge that I need. I'm working on increasing that, working on that kind of development and growth. So I am very happy with the changes that I'm making into myself and also business. And then I look forward to keep this momentum going for the rest of the year and in 2025. So I'm very pleased with that.
Awesome. And then, Ripple, thank you so much for joining me today. Would you like to let everyone know how they can find you and how they can work with you?
So you can find me on Instagram on Real Estate with Ripple. I have a Facebook page with the same name, Real Estate with Ripple. You can reach out to me via email, ripple.patel@compass.com, or you can always call me at 510-364-8043.
Awesome. And we will put that all in the show notes so people can find you super easy. Ripple, thank you so much for your time today.
I appreciate you inviting me to join the podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Closing Table podcast brought to you by Windowsill. I'm Kat Schooler. Please be sure you're following our podcast on Apple or Spotify. And if you're part of our YouTube audience, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're enjoying our podcast, please feel free to leave us a comment or review. It helps us find more amazing listeners like you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.